This very special bonus episode of I Doubt It with Dollemore is brought to you by our generous listener supporters on Patreon and PayPal. If you appreciate what we do and would like to join them, go to dollemore.com/PayPal or dollemore.com/Patreon.
The following broadcast may contain free thinking and open-minded discussion, ideas, skepticism, and adult subject matter. Topics will be discussed using adult language, sometimes gratuitously. Get ready to move the conversation forward. This ain't your granddad's news and comment show. This is I Doubt It with Dollemore.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us this very special bonus episode of I Doubt It with Dollemore. I am your host, as every time, Jesse Dollemore, and I am joined today by my lovely and talented and scholarly co-host, Brittany Page.
Yes, you are.
Let me guess what your question is right now.
What?
What is happening? Is that the question?
Yes. All of a sudden, there are objects being taken out of a bag and placed on the table.
I was going to say that it was off-brand Pepto-Bismol. Uh-huh. This episode of I Doubt It with Dollemore podcast is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol Max. For all of your diarrhea needs.
Oh.
Good times had by all.
Upset tum.
We are also joined by the Renaissance man, actor, writer, stellar impressions of Mike Cernovich and Jordan B. Peterson, I just learned today, Adam G. Simon.
How's your tum? You have a sour tum?
Yeah. So, do you have a sour tum? Is your tum feeling bad? It's amazing. Yeah, no, it comes pretty standard nowadays.
Okay.
So I had, I think I told you guys about this, about the Lyme disease. Did I tell you about that? Yeah, so
Well, we saw some stories about it on Instagram.
Yeah, so I was bit by a tick about a year and a
Get
half
right,
ago.
make love to that microphone. Get right in.
So do you remember being bit by the tick? Because I'm fascinated by this. Do you know when you're bit? Okay, you know.
Yeah, I was shooting a project for a network that has paid for some of the medical bills. Anyway, so yeah, I was shooting this project. I was supposed to run through this field, and my character gets shot, and I fall down in this grass, and I'm kind of laying there dead with these insects crawling on me. So I did it, and like an idiot. When you're acting in something, and a director says, "Hey, you want to do this?" You're like, "Yeah," and you just do it.
Yeah.
And that's cost me, getting hit by a car. Like I've had all kinds of like injuries.
What?
So I'm
What?
So I'm laying in this grass, just sitting there with like insects crawling all over me. They get the shot. I go home, and I'm taking a shower and stuff, and I knew nothing about Lyme disease. I knew nothing about it. But I knew about ticks, and sure enough, there was a tick on my leg. So pulled out a lighter, burned the back of it. It crawled out and killed it, and that was that. Took a shower, checked the rest of myself, and I was fine. So then about 6 months later, I started to have all kinds of health problems. I was passing out. I was having heart palpitations.
No shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was
Wow.
really, really bad. So doctor after doctor, they're saying nothing's wrong with me. Also saying it was like psychosomatic and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm going to die. I can't work out. I was laying in bed for like 3 days straight. And so finally I got this excellent doctor. Shout out to Dr. Shamus in Burbank. She's a rare disease specialist, and so went into her, and she's like, "Oh, it sounds like Lyme," and so they tested me for Lyme disease and came back positive.
There's a test they can do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's bacteria that's caused from the tick bite, and it causes all kinds of havoc in your body.
Wow.
So they treat it with doxycycline, and it was like intravenous antibiotics. So it wipes it out, but then it totally destroys your kidneys.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm dealing with that right now. So
Yeah.
I gotta go in and see a kidney specialist this week, and it's just been.
Do you
hell.
think there was? You always, there's no. Sometimes when you have a guest on the show, you worry we might not have enough to talk about. Never the case.
Never the case
with Adam Simon.
There's always something going on.
But did you find that maybe there was a little apprehension or trepidation to take you seriously because, as you know, we are currently in Orange County, California.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a fashionable.
Lyme has become like a fad.
Yeah, we know a lot of like rich people who are like, oh, I've got Lyme disease. No,
but
you don't.
the thing is,
How
they
did
don't
they
go
get-
and get a test though.
Oh, fuck those
They
guys.
just think that
wanna
they
cure
have it.
themselves with light on their blood or crystals and weird shit.
What the fuck?
Or lotion.
Yeah, no, man. It's-
Lotion with lotion.
With lotion?
You know, all the world's most severe disorders are cured by lotion.
That's insane.
Just a special cream.
Yeah, no, it's a bacteria and you need antibiotics. So
Yeah.
anybody who's running around going, I have Lyme and I'm going to will myself. It's like the same motherfuckers who are like, I have herpes and I just need to think positive thoughts. I saw something like that on Facebook one day. Like somebody's like, if you have herpes, you just need to remove stress from your life. It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. Yeah.
That is not going to do Donald Trump well for his, what is for sure that guy has herpes. For sure.
He's a germaphobe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
All of these women,
Right.
he's like, I don't like to wear condoms. They don't feel good. Yikes.
Germs don't seem to be a priority.
So funny. I saw this thing. I always get this guy confused with somebody else. I think it's Scott Derrickson. He was the guy who wrote Doctor Strange.
Get right in that microphone.
Scott Derrickson.
Yes, that is good.
So, but I know his first name's Scott, so I could be completely fucking that up. But I did see a tweet from him where he said the reason I stay on Twitter. And it was a picture of Donald Trump's hair blowing in the wind, but done like The Haunting. So it just like kept like rising, like they had photoshopped
Wispy,
it.
misty.
Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, Scott
Yeah.
Derrickson. Yeah.
So
amazing.
that's perfect. That's
Just confirming, just doing a fact check.
provided
Yes.
a great segue for me.
Oh, one more thing on the Lyme disease. This is for all the, anybody who's, being stupid about it or saying any of that kind of shit. After you get treated, your immune system, it becomes an autoimmune disorder because it doesn't leave your body. It goes into fat cells, it goes into muscle fibers. And so when it comes out, your body recognizes it and goes, oh, we remember
And
this
freaks out.
motherfucker, and freaks out. So that's what's started to happen to me now is that my immune system has started attacking healthy tissues, healthy organs and stuff like that.
Jesus.
So I have to take immunosuppressants and steroids. Yeah, you get...
Like forever, you're fucked now?
Yeah, pretty much.
There's no cure. You know what I mean? It's-
there's no...
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
fucking
mean,
sucks.
inside, I'm super happy about it. I have to paint the picture that I
So
can't.
if you guys can introduce me to anybody who's using it as like...
Well, no, I don't think they're used. I don't think they actually have it because
Right.
it is one of those things that has become kind of I don't want to say popular, but common for like not.
Yeah, look at
Not
somebody like...
everybody has it.
I
We
think it
just
was
know so
Avril
many people.
Lavigne who had
She
it
had
like
it.
legitimately,
Yeah.
and almost completely fucking destroyed her. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I was convinced I had it after diagnosing myself with a WebMD search.
WebMD, man,
Yeah.
this is the worst thing in the world.
Brittany Page likes to diagnose herself for many, many things.
You can fall down the hole there.
So, you have all prolific shit going on right now.
I got a lot of
We
shit
love
going
having you
on.
on the show. This is your third time. I think you're our only third time guest.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty fucking cool.
So-
Yeah.
I just like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome.
think you
We always
guys
have a
are
great time.
amazing.
So, you have awesome projects that are happening right now. One,
Yeah.
you're getting ready to act. You have a part in a movie called Boss Level.
Think if you blink, you'll miss me. And I also don't think I'm spoiling anything, and so I don't want to tread there. But yeah, it's directed by Joe Carnahan. And it's got Mel Gibson,
Which
Frank
is,
Grillo.
by the way, for the audience's edification, Joe Carnahan wrote and directed Smokin' Aces, wrote and directed The Grey
Yeah.
with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
He
yeah.
also takes care of biz on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also is you are a very good Twitter follow. Adam Simon actor, and also Joe Carnahan
Yeah.
is great. Is he Carnahan Joe or something?
Yeah, Carno Joe. Yeah, we tag team
Yeah, it's
motherfuckers
great.
all the time.
Yeah. Between Cernovich, and Donald Trump.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
we have
super
a
good.
lot of fun, and it's all in good fun. And I've yet to find anybody to contend, so I'd like to extend the invitation. If there's any Trump trolls out there that would like to, Joe said it perfectly. He's like, it's great for my writing because I use these trolls kind of like a speed bag, like just to warm up and get ready for the day. It gets the muscles all active. But The Blacklist is his. Stretch, which is a great movie. I don't know if you guys have you seen Stretch?
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Talk
about making fun of Los Angeles. That's a movie to see. Totally makes fun.
I love to make fun of Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's
That's a good
fantastic.
time. And then you're writing.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to have like all kinds of shit happen right now.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
This is the summer of Adam Simon.
This is the summer.
It's like
This
you
is the
got
summer of
hired
Adam
on
Simon.
Exclusively to write movies for Frank Grillo.
Yeah. I'm down with
And
that.
Joe Carnahan.
Dude, I'm down with that. I will write movies for Frank as long as that fucking guy is breathing. He's fantastic. I've got the one that we finished, Point Blank, so that's being done with Netflix and Gaumont. And
it's going to be a Netflix release?
Yeah.
They're not fucking around, man.
They're not. They're not.
They poured like $7 billion into original content.
Yeah.
And they are spending it.
Yeah, they're doing it. And meanwhile, Amazon is like, we're all in on the Lord of the Rings. We're just going to take all of our chips and just.
Are they doing something with Lord of the Rings?
Oh my God, it's the most expensive undertaking in the history of television. More than Game of Thrones. More than anything. It's like, I think the production budget's something like 150
It's
million.
It's going to be a TV show?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I
TV
know a
show
lot
off
of
the Lord
nerds
the
that
Rings.
are really. Where's my camera, Taylor? A
that
lot
it?
of nerds that are really, really happy right now.
But how are they going to expand the story of Bilbo Baggins into a series? I don't understand. Are they going to feature Smaug? What's going to happen? Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, so tell us about what
so
you got
that's
going on.
So that is Gaumont's fantastic. I think I kind of hinted at it the last time we were together. This gal Joanna Byer, who's just a phenomenal producer. She's fantastic. And so the script's written. It's currently being put together. I was trying so hard to cross the finish line so I could say who's involved in that on the directing side. And he's just a bad ass motherfucker. I love this guy. The guy who's going to direct is just freaking phenomenal. So when I can talk about that, I'll update you guys. But he's great. He's fantastic. And just like part of the tribe. Like he's just a really, really cool dude. I just think the world of him. But Frank's in that. And then The Raid, which Joe and I wrote together. So we co-wrote the script on that. Joe's directing. Frank's in that. And all these are under the War Party banner, which is Joe and Frank's company. So they have a film fund. And Joe's got a film coming out called El Chicano, which is also great. An entirely Latino cast.
Nice.
Latino director, Ben Hernandez Bray, who's phenomenal. He's a really, really great dude. So that movie. So yeah, Boss Level, El Chicano, The Raid, Point Blank. It's
How does that? How
crazy.
is
and doing a short film right now.
What's your process like for writing? I mean, from like you conceive of an idea and then you just write a shitty first draft. I mean, what?
Like if it all starts with somebody promising to write me a check. That's the most important part. It used to be like, I gotta tell something, I gotta have this artistic, and now it's like, man, motherfucker, pay me. Like I just I got kids going to college. It's different. Every single time it's different. The thing that doesn't change though is work. Like you have to, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You wake up in the morning and you write. And even if it's, it just doesn't matter. You have to have that discipline of just waking up and writing. Like I'm writing every day. Like you have to. So many people, I got approached by this writer a few weeks ago, and he said, this is my script. I've been working on it for 12 years. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like since January, I've written 415-page scripts. Like, what are you talking about? And I understand that everybody's different. We're kind of all at different levels of the game, but You can't be precious about anything, and you just got to put in the work. Like you have to write.
Yeah.
But every single one of those has been different. The Raid was different because when I first spoke to Joe and Frank about it, I was like, why are you doing it? Like, why? Like the original film is really, really great. Like, why do a remake? And Frank said something really cool. He said, it's not a remake, it's a reimagining. If you could figure out a way, something that you're kind of dialed into. So the story is about two brothers, really. And it's also, I think, very timely because it has a very heavy military component. And we're also talking about, why do we fight with the people we love the most? Like, and I think about that over my life. I don't know about you guys, but like some of the biggest fights I've ever had have been with the people that I care about the most.
Sure.
And so we explore that, and we got to explore that. And then with Point Blank, that movie is all about the fear of becoming a father. So just the dread of like, oh my God, like what, like I'm about to be a dad.
Yeah.
So it helps to draw on personal experience.
Oh yeah. Write what you know.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember speaking to somebody, it was at a Comic-Con. Somebody came up to me and we started to have a conversation about writing, and they said, it was this gal, and she said, I've got this really great idea about robots and zombies. And the zombies, and so we talked about this for a while, and I'm like, yeah, but what, I was like, but what's the what's the message you're trying to say? Like, what are you trying to, why do you care about this? Why do you want to tell? And she's like, well, I've always loved robots. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But any kind of anything, I think even with the first Transformers film, Steven Spielberg said, make it about a boy in his car. Like it's about the relationship between, just like E.T. was like the relationship between this boy and this extraterrestrial. So even the big kind of blockbuster films, you got to have this story at the heart of it, and you can always go back to that.
As someone that tends to procrastinate, it's hard for me to think of like going to the computer every day and writing something, even if I like there's just nothing coming to mind. So how do you like work through that if there's just nothing there?
Awesome question.
Yeah, screaming. There's on my Instagram, I have that video of that dog just howling.
Yeah.
When people are like, "What's your process?" And it's just a dog going, "Ah!" And he's screaming like a human. That's my process. I think you have to pick up the DNA of your subject matter. So, for example, Point Blank takes place in Los Angeles. That location is kind of shifted, but the central theme of it is around corrupt unit within a police department. So I went down, I hung out with the LAPD. My father's a cop, but I didn't want to just rely on that. So I went down, hung out with narcotics officers, talked to them. There's a component of it that takes place in an emergency room, like a downtown chaotic emergency room. So I went down there, spent some time with some EMTs. So I think part of that, like if we're talking creative writing, of course, picking up the DNA of the story you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know something, learn about it. So, for you, nothing's probably more irritating having served in the military and watching a military movie and going, "Oh God, they don't do that. They don't talk like that. They don't move like that." Like what a bunch of shit.
It used to really bother me.
Yeah,
like too much. Like calm down. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But even like if they're wearing their rank wrong.
Yeah.
If a Marine is calling, because in the Army you call, "Hey Sergeant," "Hey Sarge,"
right?
Like all the way up.
Yeah.
You don't do that in the Marine Corps. You call a staff sergeant, and they're like, "You just fucking demoted me."
Yeah.
That shit used to really drive me crazy. And it's do the due diligence, do the research, find out what have somebody on as an advisor who can set you straight on shit.
Absolutely.
But I think it's awesome going and diving in and learning.
I had a great conversation with the guys who did the first Act of Valor film. That was the one where it was all the actors were military, former military or
that's a Clint Eastwood one, right? But the train?
No. That's I know what you're talking about. It's got a similar title. It kind of sounds the same. This is the one where they use like live ammunition and had, it was crazy. And it looked great. It was fantastic. And again, not dissing the film at all. It's just they couldn't, none of the guys could act their way out of a wet paper sack.
We talked, Brittany and I talked about the Eastwood movie that is telling the story of the three
and he did the same thing
who were on the train and thwarted a terrorist attack.
Sure.
They used the same guys. And come on, commit to the art, commit to the craft. You can tell the story better if you hire someone who is a seasoned,
And you don't have to honor them by having them in the movie. You can honor them by telling their story.
Pay them for their story.
Yeah.
That's how you honor them.
Acting's a really interesting thing, and I don't know anybody who watches The Voice or America's Got Talent or any of these talent shows and watches somebody sing and just kill it, right? Like the professional singers. And after it's over, they go, "Yeah, I could do that.
Right.
I could do that. Yeah." I don't know anybody who does that with any other kind of artistic endeavor, painters, any of that.
Sure.
But when somebody sees an actor, they go, "Oh, fucking actor, I could do that. That's so easy." And it's like, yeah, no, you can't. There's
I agree.
Yeah, there's a craft to it, and even within acting itself, it's like there's levels to that. Then I start looking at it and going, okay, are you a Vin Diesel actor? Because Vin Diesel does this thing and does it well, and he's really great to watch. He's Vin Diesel and everything, but Vin Diesel is not. Shia LaBeouf is not Daniel Day-Lewis.
There's a reason why Meryl Streep,
right,
is dragging down Oscar nomination after Oscar nomination.
For sure.
And other people will say aren't all the time. It's not because the fix is in and she's just lucky to be liked by everybody. She's killing it. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great conversation with this guy who's a technical advisor. He's a military advisor. And he was on this kick of like, if you're doing a movie about military personnel, it should only be military. Like you shouldn't. Only actors who've served in the military. And Adam Driver gave a TED Talk, which is really cool. And if you
former Marine,
Adam Driver,
from Girls and Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. And he gives a great TED Talk where he talks about it, and he says, I was in the military. Now I'm trying to bring the I hate this word so much, but like the craft.
It's good.
Yeah, to those people, and
I'm
saying,
quick to judge on dumb shit like that.
Right,
and I think I give a tacit approval to calling it.
Oh, so then it's okay.
Yeah. So his whole point was like, look, if you want to do something within this world, then you need to study, just like any other discipline. Like you need to know how to hit a mark and deliver your lines as if you didn't memorize them, as if it's just coming off you naturally. That's a skill. Then you got to hit your mark, do your lines, and come off emotionally connected to what you're doing on top of looking real. Then you got to add to that if there's a character walk, an accent, anything that's happening. So there's all these layers that you put into a performance, and it's not just, well, I played a Marine, so I'm going to be a Marine. It's like, but that's not the story we're telling, So it's interesting.
I think a lot of this could even apply to your writing.
Yeah.
A lot of the same.
Every Lyft driver I've ever had is a screenwriter.
It's like you're talking about putting in the work, and it's the same thing for the acting.
Yeah.
People ask me. I used to lecture at a community college here about podcasting once a semester, and the question that I've been asked a million times is, do you have any advice for people who want to start a podcast or who want to get into YouTube? What's your advice? It's stop planning to do and fucking do
and do it.
Do it, even if you do it shittily.
Yeah,
do it. Don't plan, because you'll be planning forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the guy who has his 12-year script.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect. You gotta pull the trigger.
Yeah, you do. And
you pulled the trigger a lot this year or the last year.
Yeah, I've just been kind of silent on the creative front, just writing and doing these things, and then even the short film, it's, you know, I wanted to tell a story about abuse, and that's a topic that we've talked about both privately and on the air.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell it, but I've never seen it. I've seen some films that kind of tackle it in a right way, but I've always struggled with this idea of, especially growing up in a religious household, of forgiveness. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that really mean to forgive? And where are those lines between justice and mercy? And, you know, I just wanted to explore that. And actually what got me on it was Shia sent me a script for a movie he's doing called Honey Boy that he wrote. And you want to talk about the most meta thing you've ever heard in your entire life. It's a script about him and his father and their relationship. And he's playing his dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's going like all the way down, you know, because he wants to understand, right?
Yeah.
He wants to explore that.
Yeah.
And so in reading the script, which is a beautiful script, and I had no idea Shia could write like that. And in reading that script, I was like, okay, maybe now's a good time because finances are, you know, getting stable. You know, things are looking good. I got some projects. Maybe I need to explore this. So we got a great cast. We got this director, Ted Leonard. He was like a first AD on Big Eyes, that movie, that Tim Burton movie. Great DP. This guy, George McGuire, who's like legendary acting coach, an instructor, and he was in Fight Club and a bunch of other movies. So we're kind of going toe to toe with each other. And just as like a coincidence, the director reached out to George to play my father in the film. That's not real. He's actually based off of another family member. And in my life, I use the word family member very loosely. But George taught Joe Carnahan acting in college. I had no freaking idea. And suddenly this guy's on board and now we're talking. It's just weird.
That's
awesome. Yeah, the town's really small.
I like the exploration, especially right now, today, with what we're facing. But I like the exploration of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because right now, with Donald Trump in office and all these evangelicals selling their goddamn souls,
it's pretty crazy.
Well, you know, we're going to give them a mulligan. You know, even Christianity is all about forgiveness. But in the Bible, forgiveness comes when you ask for forgiveness and you offer penance. You some contrition. You admit you're wrong, and you ask for forgiveness,
which is something he brags about not doing.
Right.
He doesn't apologize.
Yeah.
So I like that you're exploring it because it is freely given. But there are requirements to forgiveness.
Yeah, everybody. I've seen so many people saying, "Judge not, lest ye be judged."
Yeah, Matthew chapter 5, verses 1-6.
Right, and the actual translation of it is, "Judge not unrighteously, lest ye be judged unrighteously."
Well, it goes on to talk about take the plank out of your eye before you go looking at the speck in someone else's,
right?
Which is what encapsulates the righteousess.
Yeah,
you know, we can all point and see who's wrong and acting like an asshole.
Yeah.
Jesse D taking us to church.
Yeah. That's right. And God did declare, Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
what is up with that? Side note, the cadence, right? Not just with
it's
pastors,
hypnotic, man.
but all religious leaders. I've noticed this. Like, and it's fascinating to me. Like, you just did it for kind of the evangelical, and God said, kind of a thing. Yeah. And then with Mormons, it's no. They do this weird thing where like any talks, any Mormon leadership, like when they get up there on
like general conference.
Oh yeah, like general conference. It's like,
and it's not like it's not your typical.
It's so weird.
It's not even just like white guy up there being boring. Even like when they have their elders from or their state presidents and their church leaders from like South America or Asia come in. They do the
take
same
the cadence.
Weird shit.
It's the cadence.
It's super weird.
Is there some psychological? There has to be. It has to be like an evolutionary thing.
Emulation. They just
saw somebody do it.
Joseph Smith acted goofy like
so
that,
weird.
and then they just carried on.
Yeah, and I
mean, I don't want to answer the question for you.
Well, I haven't investigated this, so
but I've also noticed it.
A good research question, yes.
I've also noticed it even with public speaking. That people and I love everything that's happened with the March for Our Lives and MeToo movement. But the second that people, and again, not criticizing anybody, I'm just making an observation that the second anybody gets a mic in front of them, and it doesn't matter, Scarlett Johansson, who's like an actress,
for sure,
versus like David Hogg, like any of these guys, they're always like, and we'll go, and it's like, what is that?
It rouses the crowd. I mean,
that makes sense.
Even like when I'm doing a
hype
video,
when I'm
doing a video for YouTube, I don't gesticulate like I do normally. I
gesticulate.
I read.
That's a good word.
Differently. I'm more purposeful in my words. This is a little bit more informal, and we've talked off the air, a million times, and I'm pretty much this.
Yeah.
This isn't a character I'm playing.
I got asked by somebody. They said, "Yeah, but Jesse, he does this character thing," and I'm like, "No, fucker! Like that's him. Like he is this like." Santa Claus who will fuck you up. Like he's just this he's just like Santa Claus on test supplements.
The first time, go ahead.
I think what it is people have heard enough from like boring speakers that they know what not to do.
Yeah.
So it could be just emulation where I don't want to get on stage and like bore everybody to death.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. So it might be some of that.
Well, yeah.
But there's also just naturally gifted speakers that they get up there and they just have it.
Well, because if you maintain the same pitch and quality to your voice and timbre, it is like the Mormon General Conference where it's maybe it's boring. Yeah. But if you vary your levels and you keep people engaged.
And also in those circumstances, people laugh at jokes that just aren't fucking funny. Like if you were doing like open mic night somewhere and you were like, my wife, she said, you do one of those like totally cornball fucking jokes, but they just slay at any
Mike
religious
Huckabee
event.
Would be a fucking failure as a stand-up, but he has people just slapping their knee. Oh, that guy's so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's not.
Yeah. What else is weird is the and this is right along lines of what we're talking about, is the Tommy Lahren got this thing too.
Yeah.
Where she does this,
the worst.
that talking into the
new
camera
bouncy thing.
Yeah, she's developed it though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because if you watch her old videos, this has not always been.
I was talking to somebody the other day, even may have been on the show, that I think that somebody got to her when she got to Fox and said, "You need to amp it up. You need to be extra Tommy Lahren-y,
right?
Because that's what we're paying you for." Because she was starting to she's never made sense, but she started to. Kind of calm down a little bit, and then as soon as she got to Fox, it's
ramped back up.
Well, even the whole thing, her statements before on climate change, on abortion, on all these things, she was starting to kind of go, okay, maybe I need to, and then she's just all in on Trump, which is going to blow up in her face. But that cadence thing is just it's so fucking weird.
She I think watched. She must have locked herself in a room and watched Sarah Palin on fucking loop, because she does have a very Sarah Palin-esque quality to what she does.
Yeah, it's really weird and
less word salady.
Yeah, and YouTube and all these formats has kind of brought all these weird personalities kind of to the forefront, and I like it because everybody's kind of debating ideas.
Yeah,
but you can spot people's carnival barker behavior, like how it works. Like this guy,
can.
Yeah. I mean, like being a student of behavior.
Very good.
And these people that are getting kind of free passes, like this guy Louder with Crowder.
Yeah,
you know this guy,
Steven Crowder.
And I've seen him sit down and have rational conversations that perfectly make sense. But when you follow this, he's like Mark Dice light. Like if you follow this format of, I'm going to show up somewhere, set up a booth and show you guys what real college students are thinking about.
Yeah, right.
And then he gets really aggressive with his body language. He gets in people's faces. And he does this shell game.
He's not a little guy either. I mean, he's not a giant.
But he does this shell game where he'll insult you, but insult you so quickly and move on to the next topic that you don't have an opportunity to respond. I saw this video with this kid that was eating him alive on the points that he was bringing up, and the kid was relaxed. He was sitting back. He said, he threw in a couple barbs there, but then Crowder does this thing where he sits forward. He's like getting right in his face, shoves the microphone in his face. He's like super dominating with his posture. And then he goes, yeah, we need to keep it civil with each other. Like if I was to, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but he threw out 2 insults in a row. Like if I were to say, you had squinty eyes and you look like a little douchebag shithead, then, that would be insulting. And we don't want to do that here. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about Syria, and it's like, dick. You're a fucking dick.
Listen,
wouldn't you love to be approached by these people?
What's that?
Wouldn't you love to be approached by these people?
I would love it.
There are people who walk the earth, and this is a phrase that I used today in a message to someone, and I said, that guy strikes me as someone who's never been punched in his fucking face.
Ever.
And that's not to endorse violence or promote violence, but you've had your bell rung. You walk softly with people.
You comport yourself a little bit differently.
It's like, well, this guy might just punch me in the face.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also I treat people, one of the reasons why I don't I really avoid internet argument like on Facebook is because I'm going to treat someone just like I would treat them to their face. And it's not cool, because if you're being a dick, you're being a racist, you're being a homophobe, whatever, you deserve to be treated poorly.
Yeah.
You're asking to be treated poorly.
Anytime any of these characters, the Steven Crowder, Tommy Lahren, not so much Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's just like he's like Data from Star Trek. He's just an emotionless Vulcan.
Speaking of robots and zombies, yikes.
Yeah, and again, I consume pop culture all the time, and this is something that's happening. So I've seen little bits where I go, oh, he's got a point here on this one thing, or this person. Tommy, not so much, but some of these other guys, I'll watch them, and it's usually in those moments when they're one-on-one in a situation like this, where they're calm, everybody's kind of talking to each other. It's when he goes in with a game plan, with an act, with a shtick, that it's like you're being a dick. And as we've seen with Tommy on The Daily Show, as we've seen,
can't hang.
With Crowder on Rogan, like these guys, when they get in a situation where you just take them to task and talk to
Crowder's
them,
the guy.
Their game goes to shit.
They're just incendiary. They're bomb throwers. They're rabble rousers. He's the guy. I think he is the guy who. There's only 2 genders. Change my mind. It's fuck you, dude.
Yeah. So
change my mind.
Socialism sucks. Change my mind.
Yeah, that's his thing, right? That's the guy.
And he shows up on college campuses and sets up a booth.
The Canadian.
It's like.
Why is it we get all the terrible Canadians imported? We get Steven Crowder.
That's not true. We get some good ones.
We get Jordan B. Peterson. Why can't we get any good Canadians?
And again, on Jordan Peterson, we were talking about this before the show. There's been some conversations that he's had. He had a conversation on a news program. I want to say it's in Australia, and I could have that totally fucking wrong, because I go down the rabbit hole on YouTube and just hours and hours and hours.
The one with Kathy Newman where everyone was saying that he smashed her and
no, not that one. There
dominated.
Destroyed.
Yeah, destroyed.
Yeah, and I saw one where he was talking about people needing to be encouraging. That's what he was talking about, and he got emotional about it. And he was talking about the need for encouragement, especially with young people.
It was men.
Yeah.
Young men.
Young men.
I've seen it. He starts to cry.
Yeah. And that one, there's a couple other things, like I say, when he's within the wheelhouse of what he studied really well, I think there's some interesting things that he brings up.
Same field as Brittany Page.
Yeah.
Clinical psychology professor.
It's when... And that he's going into territory that he's not familiar with when he goes, now I've studied a lot about this. A lot. Shit. I've spent years studying this. And so I can tell you I know a lot. And he stares him down like a lot, and you're like, no.
Yeah, right.
you're treading into waters that you haven't really studied deeply.
By the way,
when you have to
say that it was almost as though Jordan Peterson
I'm trying to work on Jordan Peterson, Mike Cernovich, and Alex Jones all having a meltdown about what's going on with.
Impressive.
I want you to do that here in studio when you get it dialed in.
It's just funny. It's funny, man. And there's but it's either right or left. Super ultra, like what people have coined, like social justice warriors that are like. Or Antifa or like whatever, like those kinds of people.
I get called that all the time.
Which is bullshit. And then people, on the right that are like white nationalists and total fucking crazy neo-Nazi guys. And then there's, this kind of room in the middle, and people are being forced to say, well, I'm on the left or I'm on the right. And, I think what's good about all this is we're having the opportunity to go, oh no, this guy's got a good point here. Yeah. Like let's try to build on common ground.
Let me say this though.
I think part of it is that people also can't say, I went a little too far with that, or I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Peterson when he was interviewed on Vice and he started talking about makeup.
Yeah.
And,
what the fuck are you talking about?
How women are basically inviting sexual harassment when they wear makeup because they're making their lips look like vagina, sex. Time and
weird.
Whatever he was saying, and he has to realize.
I don't know. We don't know what the rules are. I'm just asking the questions. It's
exactly.
Like, hey,
but he has to know. Like when he goes home for the day, he has to know. I went a little too far with that.
Yeah.
I don't actually believe that. And I just got a little caught up in the interview and I got caught up, whatever. Just say it. Just send out a tweet.
Nobody likes to do that. Everybody's doubling down on their opinions.
It would be especially powerful though for these people that are in these positions to do that, because it would model it for people on the internet. And then we would see more of, I think, just kind of collective beneficial discussion.
Yeah.
Let me say this though. You made a point about people being on the extreme of one side or extreme of the other. If I'm not forced to choose, but if I'm choosing sides and I'm going to team with somebody, you better goddamn know that I'm going to be on the side of social justice. I don't know when that became a pejorative term.
Yeah, it's weird.
You social justice warrior. You're goddamn right that I stand for social justice. You're absolutely correct that I'm going to try to stand in the gap for oppressed populations, whether it be black or LGBT.
Sure.
And that other side...
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
not my team.
Yeah, you got to know like who you're standing with, and just that objectivity. Like I've watched every single podcast Joe Rogan's ever done, like every single one, and he's had some really
4 million hours of content.
Yeah, every single one, dude. I'm like Alex. You ever hear that myth about Alex Cooper? How he had like all those television screens going at once.
Who?
Alice Cooper.
Oh,
Alice Cooper. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I was thinking Alex Jones. But Alice Cooper, how he had like multiple television sets going at once and just had to be, bombarded with all this information. Yeah. So I've done that and I've watched it. I think they're fascinating. I think Joe's got some fascinating stuff. But even I, like on something like that, like I think what's good about his stuff is he'll get approached with something. If he gets some new information, he can go back and go, okay, I was wrong about this. And I've heard him say he's wrong about stuff. But like, here's one example of that for me. And I'm a huge fan. Like I love his stuff. But you bring up Alex Jones. Any guest brings up Alex Jones on his show. And he's like, yeah, but have you partied with Alex Jones? He's so fun.
Oh,
you
God.
get him drunk, you get him high. We got him drunk and high on the show. He's super fun. He's just crazy Alex. Like that's all he is. He's crazy dude. Alex. And in the same breath, he will look at something like the He Will Not Divide Us thing that Shia did. And he'll go, oh, look at this fucking actor, idiot. Which, and again... People are going to jump on this. They're totally going to jump on this and say, he didn't say that. Like everybody loves to do the is and quote somebody exactly. He said he was being an idiot, like so to speak. I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the quotes in front of me, but I remember the video very specifically. He said, none of these guys are Nazis that are showing up at the thing. They're just having fun. They're trolling him. Did you see him steal his flag? they filed police charges. Like people were fucking arrested. Some of these assholes who showed up, one of them showed up in Arizona with a gun and fired shots in the air. So they closed it down. Like people were arrested. Like there were actual white nationalists who had ties to Nazi party, all that shit, wearing swastikas. They weren't just, like guys having fun wanting to troll Shia LaBeouf. I'm sure there were elements of that.
Right.
But there were people that were making death threats, motherfuckers who got arrested, white supremacists. And so for him to kind of go, oh, look at this idiot actor doing this thing. And that's my buddy. Like, that's my homie. Like, Joe Rogan would never say shit about Joey Diaz. Like, you couldn't pay him. And that's my relationship with Shia. So I got kind of like heated about that. And then to dismiss somebody like Alex, like to go, oh, he's just crazy. No, Alex Jones came on the air and said some shit about Pizzagate. And that caused a motherfucker to go drive to a pizza parlor and pull out a gun.
Well,
he has influence in a terrible way.
Exactly right. Even if he's right about Shia LaBeouf being an idiot, and I don't think he is. I think Shia has a good heart and he's actually trying to make a difference. But even if he did, if he was right, Shia LaBeouf isn't a danger to the country
100%.
And doesn't have the power that Brittany was just talking about and wield it like a weapon to drum up conspiracy and paranoia that could lead to violence and has led to violence.
Yeah, people want to act like he's just crazy, right? And he has millions of views.
He has millions of
people
views. He has a news
him,
organization.
Believe that he's legitimate.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has appeared on his show.
Yeah. The president of the fucking United States is like, thank you very much for your support. I'm going to do you proud.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, an artist, a creative-minded person, like doing something to express his displeasure with an administration that is obviously fucking corrupt.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a big difference. So you're going to dismiss this guy who has power and influence.
Right.
And is actually, I saw this Vice piece. It was fucking terrible. This guy who, same thing, influenced by InfoWars, like the whole thing, showed up to that pastor, the guy whose church was shot at.
Man, how it makes you want to cry.
His fucking daughter was killed.
15-year-old
And this guy's
daughter.
like, you're a crisis actor, you piece of shit. And he's got to deal with that, all these death threats.
Yeah.
And you got this cocksucker who's coming on air and who's saying, well, I don't know, we're investigating right now, it's a false flag. And for you to sit there and be like, oh, that's just crazy Alex. But you want to get down on my boy? Like, you want to talk shit about my buddy who doesn't wield that influence and doesn't have people walking into places with guns and harassing fucking victims.
Right.
Like, fuck that, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
And again, I love it. Like, I'm a huge fan, but that's like a hot button issue for me where I go, man, you're wrong on this. Like, you're dismissing this dude.
Let me say this.
Yeah. Anyway, I could talk forever about
that whole thing about, well, he technically didn't say that. He talks for a living. He clearly knows where the line is and how to say and where to go and how to kind of skirt the issue so he can claim, well, I didn't actually know, that's not literally. Listen,
I'm
fond of saying that we have the commonality of language. And when you talk to me, even if you don't use the exact words, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And hiding behind shit like that bothers me.
And again, like, I don't think the actual quote was, oh, Shia LaBeouf is an asshole. Like, it was just like, oh, he's an idiot. And sure, like, you could look at that and go, yeah, that's not my thing. That's not what I want to do. But it was also giving kind of an avenue for people that were frustrated with the system to kind of come out and do something with it.
Yeah.
Right.
But it turned into a lightning rod for white supremacists because Shia was born Jewish. And he's, made that, he's talked about that. And that's what people were coming up and doing. And they were giving him death threats and all kinds of crazy shit. People were showing up armed and it was crazy. And people were fucking arrested. And one of the guys that was at the protest who had charges filed on him ended up being at the event in Charlottesville. And they had him on tape in Charlottesville. And it's just like...
Not real Nazis. Not real.
Yeah, just do a Google search, man. Like, you can look all this stuff up. Yeah. Like, Luke Turner even, like, documented it on his Twitter. And it's just like, you can't be dismissive and call somebody crazy and... have this kind of like lightning type judgment on somebody and go, look at this fucking idiot. And isn't it great he's being trolled by these people and kind of encourage that behavior? And then just be dismissive of somebody like Alex Jones who actually wields power and has real fucking ramifications for the shit
and is doing damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are not in a position as a
he's
country.
not Art Bell. Like Alex Jones is not
coast to coast.
Yeah, coast to coast.
Conspiracy theory guy.
Rest in peace.
But we're not in a place in the country. Oh, did he die?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. We're not in a place anymore where we can casually ignore or make arguments that racism isn't a predominant feature of the American landscape sociopolitically right now.
Absolutely.
Because Donald Trump ushered it in with open arms, promoted it at his rallies, promoting violence and racism and bigotry and failing to disavow David Duke on the campaign, in that Jake Tapper interview.
Yeah. Well, listen, he didn't know what he was talking about with KKK and white supremacy. He needed those terms defined for him.
It's the greatest. That's the greatest. When Jake Tapper says, well, I'm just talking about the KKK. So, yeah, if you don't want to disavow that group because you haven't done your research.
Yeah, that's
maybe something's a little off.
Yeah, maybe you need to think about that a little bit.
And that combined with everything else.
Yeah, that's right. Everything else.
It keeps growing, the pile of evidence, right?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is this conversation always, man, and I've got so many people, and look, I didn't vote for Trump. I wasn't really crazy about Hillary, but the conversation always goes into this. Well, how do you think Hillary would be doing right now? What do you think about Hillary? It's like, look, we bought a shitty, 1969 Peugeot that's like rusted and has holes going all the way through it.
Right.
Like it's a shitty car. And you're talking to me about, well, God forbid, at least you didn't buy the fucking Chevy Nova that was the suspension was shot. It's like that's not the conversation. This is the car that we're in. How do we fucking fix this and get this back on track? It's not about what we would have had.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah. It's just,
although
it's
I would
crazy.
say it's not a broken down Chevy Nova, Hillary Clinton. It's like the sensible Toyota Corolla. You know what I mean? It's not a hot rod, but it'll get you around. The AC works. It's it's decent.
And it's so funny to see everybody lose their minds right now. Everybody's losing their fucking minds. Alex Jones included, having a complete meltdown. Ann Coulter, all these people losing their minds because the very things that Donald Trump campaigned on and said he wouldn't do, he's now doing. It's business as usual because it's the same lobbyists that own these guys. Like it's just. But crazy.
Adam,
it's crazy.
He's not a politician.
He's not a politician. He's going to go in there and shake it up. He's shaking it up.
Their money.
This is the thing we needed. Willingly. Is it the thing we needed? Like, was turning to the Joker like the thing that we needed?
Yeah.
Like, it's that's exactly what's kind of happening in a weird Hollywood kind of a way. It's like, you pressured people so hard with like the same kind of politics as usual kind of notions that they turned to somebody that they didn't totally fucking understand. This guy with one strand of hair wrapped around his head 8 million times, a reality star, and as Ron Perlman says, a fucking shitty reality star.
Yeah, he's another good one on Twitter, Ron Perlman.
Yeah, and this thing keeps popping up of like, well, he's successful. Give him credit for like his successes. What fucking successes?
Right.
Like he inherited his money. The majority of his businesses have failed or gone down of business. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Not only that, but people
bankruptcies, taking people for granted. Like,
people credibly contend that he's likely very broke and on the hook for all these creditors, European and Russian. And that's why he won't open up his books. He won't open up his tax returns.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll show where the influence really comes from, and that is his creditors.
There's also something to be said for becoming successful on the backs of other people. Like not just the inheritance that he received, but also the treating people terribly, not paying people that build his buildings.
Or the exploitation. Yeah. Jesus, Trump University?
Sure. Yeah,
you fucking kidding me? That's a multi-level market. That's a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Right.
Like anybody that's looked into Trump steaks, Trump University, Trump fucking resorts. Mm-hmm. Here's a funny story. This is totally, we'll
is it about Trump?
Your
analysis?
No.
No. I'm not. I'm not kidding. There was a Trump-branded urine test kit.
Stop
for
it.
vitamins.
What?
Yes. This is 100%
That's
true.
Amazing.
Wonders of Twitter. You can find awesome stuff out.
Yeah.
So my parents got in this. It was it's been a long time. It's been about 5 or 6 years. They got in a horrible car accident. This guy rear-ended them doing like 110 miles an hour in between Barstow and Baker, like on that road to fucking
there.
nowhere. Yeah. So my mom was life lighted to Las Vegas. And so I drove.
Spoiler
drove
alert,
out.
everybody's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's all right. I mean, my parents are still going through crazy surgeries and all kinds of stuff getting fixed up. But yeah, they're okay. They're doing well now. But we went down there and they, from the accident, they like put us up at Trump Tower in Las Vegas. I'd never stayed at a Trump Tower before. So we're on the 16th floor. I go into the elevator, hit the button, and the thing fucking drops. Like the free fall ride at Magic Mountain drops.
Really?
It goes. I feel like I'm going, whoa, shit. Like, going up in the air, and I feel the brakes engage. And it goes, like, just kind of skids to a stop. So, yeah. So I'm dealing with, like, my parents in the hospital. I don't know
There's
if my mom's going to live.
His presidency right there.
Oh, my God. So I'm sitting there. I hit the security button. It was startling, but I'm still pretty calm.
Yeah.
So I hit the security button. I'm like, hey, this issue just happened in the elevator. Can somebody come up and get me the fuck out? And they're just like, yeah, we'll send somebody up. Be about 10 minutes, stay calm. I'm like, Jesus, 10 minutes. Okay.
10 minutes.
I'm in there for a half an hour as they're trying to get this fucking thing open. And while it's there, any movement, you feel any movement.
Yeah. Of course.
And
even if you're exaggerated in your mind.
Right. Everything. Yeah. It's that thing, why eyewitnesses are never reliable, because a knife this big is actually that big. Like, he had a Bowie knife, and it's like, no, it was a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, he had a butter knife. And so so I'm sitting there, and it wasn't until they started trying to get in, and I looked at the number and it said 14. I was 14 floors up, that I went, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dangling in open space, and then I was trying to find a way out and like all that stuff. It was just a nightmare.
God.
Yeah, the whole stay there was a nightmare. Then they gave me some complimentary stuff. They were like, sorry,
here's a Trump towel.
Yeah, they were like, let's you can put your meals on the room, we'll take care of it. And I was like, well, that's very sweet. Only I got
get a taco
fucking
bowl?
food poisoning.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so then I get fucking food poisoning on top of it. I'm shitting my brains out. It was
Did
horrible.
you go back into the elevator and shit in the elevator?
Yeah, so for the rest of the
lesson?
Yeah, no. So for the rest of the time, I took the stairs. So I was doing 16 floors of stairs,
with
coming and going.
diarrhea
Yeah, it was
from your
horrible.
taco bowl.
It's terrible. Fuck Trump Towers. It's the worst place to stay. Do not stay there.
Well, I hope you gave him
Can
a
I get
Yelp
sued
review.
for that? Are they going to sue us? I don't know. Everybody's so
Nobody
sensitive.
listens to this show.
Everybody's
Don't worry
sensitive.
about it.
Yeah, it's funny.
These cameras aren't even on, and the mics they've been turned off for a long time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird time to be alive, man. We're just in it. I feel like we're inundated with information, like too much information.
Oh yeah, especially
You
when
feel
you're
that?
on Twitter. It's overwhelming when you're on Twitter.
Well,
It's pretty
especially
crazy.
We talk about it on the show a lot because the news cycle is so overwhelming that we're not able to cover. I mean, we could have a 4-hour daily radio show like Howard Stern or something, just dealing with the news.
Yeah.
So much of it gets buried too,
Yeah,
like the Trump University lawsuit.
And the settlement. And all
Yeah,
that.
the settlement that wasn't even
Nobody
didn't pop
talked
up.
about it.
Yeah,
Nobody said anything about it.
Yeah, so
And I'm
much
like,
gets buried.
there.
That's the other thing is that there's this contingent out there on the internet and Trump world that nothing to see here. There's that meme of the dog in the fiery room, and he says, "This is fine." They feel that way. Well, one, because they watch Fox News and they don't really get the full picture of what's happening. But you can't say that everything's fine when his campaign chairman has been indicted. His
lawyer's been raided.
Right. His personal lawyer
Under criminal investigation.
is likely going to be indicted. His national security director pled guilty to lying to the FBI. If Trump is clean, then why is he surrounded by all
corruption.
of this impropriety and criminality?
And panicked about it.
Well, it's the deep state. The deep state has had it in for Donald Trump for a long time.
Did you back on Alex Jones for briefly? Did you see Alex Jones's fucking meltdown?
It's pretty epic.
Motherfuckers, fuck Trump, fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Apparently, Alex Jones right now.
So it's interesting. So all those people you slammed, Alex, like all those people you talk shit about, all those people that you said, that were coming out in support, and you were calling them pedophiles, you were calling them, pieces of shit, globalists, all this other stuff, the false flag bullshit you were saying. Now you wake up in the morning and find out your boy isn't doing what he said he was supposed to do.
Right.
That
everyone else knew this was going to happen.
That he's a total fucking dirty criminal.
Yeah.
You're finding this out, and we're just gonna look past the fact that this has been your campaign the entire time. Like it's
and he's given
ridiculous.
oxygen. I mean, he's like an
Poor
incubator.
Ann Coulter's having a meltdown as
Alex
well.
Jones is like an incubator for dickholes like Cernovich and Prosibic or whatever that little
Or Bill
clown's
Mitchell.
name.
You see this guy?
He's another one, yeah.
His show should be called like Rim Lighting and Botox. Like it's just ridiculous. He's got this light that's just there to hide the wrinkles in his forehead.
He's all
and
just,
he's just dental implants.
Yeah,
it's crazy. He just looks like Max Headroom.
He
if
looks.
you remember that.
You sent me that clip on Twitter. It looks like he's recording that from the inside of his shower. It's echoey, and it's like blue shower tile around him.
Terrible.
What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Link in the show notes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like what does Syndrome say in The Incredibles? He says, "Once everybody's famous, then nobody will be."
Wow.
Yeah, or once everybody's incredible, then nobody will be, right? Something to that effect. I just feel like this idea, like everyone has a voice, everyone has a platform.
Not everybody needs to have a voice.
Definitely not.
Ooh. Or that everybody's opinion.
Says the guy who might not need to have a voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's no, not at all.
No,
you guys are educated about.
Luckily,
about
Brittany and I have
about.
resonated with a number of people.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you're pushing hate and division like these clowns do.
Yeah.
They're appealing to the lower aspect of people's inner self.
Yeah.
We really do try to appeal to people. Look, I get fiery and pissed off. And,
I do too.
And
Yeah,
say
absolutely.
shit that I mildly regret. That's a little aggressive sometimes. But I strive on a daily basis to appeal to the higher sense in people, the better angels of people's nature.
I think the other problem is that you don't get rewarded if you're moderate. So
Yeah, for sure.
It's easier to be either extreme right or extreme left and do the attack dog thing. Like that's what riles people up. That's what gets people excited. So those moderate people that are like, well, let's be reasonable. Let's take a step back and think about this.
Yeah.
That's not as exciting.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think like I always go at the people that are on the fringes, and the people that are just insane, both right and left. If they've got this burn it all down kind of mentality,
man.
like
No
those
good.
those are usually the people I'm engaging with on Twitter, because it's like that's the cancer. It's like this guy over here, like get rid of it. This dude over here,
It is. It is a
just
cancer
junk.
that needs to be excised.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so maybe that's the good thing that's coming out of all this, is that I think more and more people are going to go, we're kind of finding a voice. But I disagree with the notion that Trump is actually good. That what having him in there right now is going to bring about. It's a very optimistic view. In fact, I heard, I think it was Chris Rock in his recent special who said that, with Trump in office, we're going to get Jesus Christ. Like Jesus Christ is going to, fucking come back and show up.
The apocalypse. It's the end of the
going
world.
by that.
The end times.
Yeah, but I think I don't think so. And I've got this crazy. I'm seeing it with the MeToo movement. There's some definite monsters that are out there. But I've seen something happen is we've gone to this place. I saw this woman. I really wish I had my laptop in front of me, but there was a woman on Twitter that I engaged in a conversation with, and it wasn't hostile or anything, but we started talking to each other. But she did kind of her story, like this #MeToo. And she said every day that she came into work on this film set, that this individual who hasn't been accused of anything, like nobody's accused this guy of anything, he would stare at her. And it made her feel uncomfortable that he was staring at her, #MeToo. And I'm like, that's a far fucking way to go. Like that's a really kind of like to push that bar like that far.
Yeah. We've talked about it on the show delicately, because people get fired up about it.
And for sure.
But it's the same thing like Matt Damon got dragged on Twitter because he said that
there are differences.
Levels of severity. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, listen, I don't want to take away from that lady's experience, but it certainly pales in comparison to, the serial rape that was going on with Weinstein or the underage sex that was going on with your boy, Kevin Spacey. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you got legitimate monsters.
If anybody wants to know what that reference is, his boy, Adam told a story on the show. Or Adam, you didn't tell it. You told us at lunch after the show.
And that was the first time, right?
Before Me Too.
Yeah,
that's
before
right.
Before
anything happened. And you were talking about what a great guy he was because... No, because he showed you around the set and he was so nice. And then the Me Too thing happened.
Almost had a spit take.
All the information came out about it. And then you realized he wasn't being a nice guy.
He was grooming me.
He was trying to fuck you.
Yeah.
It was like, wait a minute. And even looking back on where we ended up, which was... this is Brian Singer, who's another guy.
Another notorious boy fucker.
Man, I had a conversation with a guy.
This video's not going to be monetized. They're going to demonetize the shit out of this.
No money will be made off of this fucking video.
You could just do a bleep, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
But no, yeah, Brian Singer. I was talking to a guy the other day. Yeah, and like even then, like I have to check myself because I've been in this town, I was born and raised here in LA. I worked, as a bodyguard for celebrities for a long time. Was, a bouncer at different clubs and I've been around and kind of in the service industry that services these people. Mm-hmm. I even did the media tent security one year for the Golden Globes and the Oscars. This really great guy, Damon. Damon, what's your last name? I know he's going to listen to this podcast, but he's a wonderful human being, but he kind of runs all
just say any last name and I'll bleep it, and then you can just blame it on me.
Oh, yeah. But where I was going with that is I've heard these stories for years, and sometimes you don't know what's real and what's not. But some of these monsters are still there. And it's like...
it makes you wonder how many non-disclosure agreements and payoffs have been made where they're legally precluded from saying anything. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because the administration that's in power right now is coming after Hollywood and rightfully so. Like a lot of these people, all these people should be fucking outed and get out the fucking doors. Joe was saying the other day, he's like, man, it's a good time to be a good guy. Like this is really good for us in Hollywood right now. It's good to be with the good guys. But there's, and this from working in Washington yourself, like some of the shit that goes on there. We've heard bumpkiss about any of the senators or any of the individuals that are being serviced by escorts and prostitutes and any of that. Sure. So we've heard nothing. We'll get an occasional like little blip in the bucket. But I know the guys that worked on House of Cards, like all the creators and everything and the actors, they had unfettered access to Washington and kind of the goings on.
Sure.
And the come away from that. Robin Wright's talked about it. Even Kevin Spacey talked about it as well. But Robin Wright Penn, she even said, the things that I've seen in Hollywood, and that girl's been around forever. She's seen a lot. I love Robin Wright. I think she's just phenomenal. But she's like, it pales in comparison to some of the shit I was seeing that was going on in Washington. So I think just as a nation, like we have a problem and we need to deal with it. This misogyny, this abuse of women, and the danger I feel is some of these monsters are going farther or further underground. Mm-hmm. There's a producer that I fucking know of. I've seen the police report. Like I've seen information about this fucking guy, and I know the offenses he's committed, but I can't. But then again, like it's the legality of the thing. The laws are set up where I can't say shit,
right?
Because now I'm gonna get sued, and the victim, who I know personally, she doesn't want to say anything because that's not the legacy she wants to live behind.
And that's most
she
important.
Want to be there.
What the victim wants, I think.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Is certainly something that should be taken into account.
The Me Too movement is also moving into churches right now, and
which is great.
The Mormon Church changing some of their rules about like the interviews issue that teenagers start to have where
to get the priesthood.
Yeah, they can ask them questions about their sexual behavior, and now they can bring an adult in the room with them. They're like changing some of the rules because
like,
of things that have
why?
happened in the past.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Like, why? Why are we doing this? Why do you have anywhere from 8 to 16-year-old girls and boys going into a room alone with some fucking guy who could be anybody from a lawyer to a doctor on one end of the spectrum to a manager in an Arby's, or just or a stay-at-home, like anybody, because God called them to that office, and they're now sitting alone with a child, and they're saying, so do you masturbate? Because that makes you impure in the eyes of God. That's the devil talking to you.
Right.
These are questions. Like I went through those questions, and again, God, I keep going back to the. Maybe it's just because like the past 3 days I've just been watching just a shit ton of podcasts. But I went back and I heard Joe say, we talked about this before, and I've heard other people say, they kind of coined this phrase, even the South Park creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Like they'll say, well, Mormonism is kind of benign. Like they're easy, like they're kind of an easy cult. And you mentioned on the show before, you said, well, no, like Proposition 8 and like all this other shit that they're doing.
Super dangerous for sure.
But I think on a larger scale as well, what about like the instances that I've been in where family members are getting married, but you can't attend the marriage because you're not a member.
Right.
Now you're dividing the family.
Yeah.
Funerals, like all these different things that happen, these events, these kind of life-changing events, and you're saying, no, you can't be a member to this club. So you're causing division within the family.
A hallmark of a cult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is separating someone from their family. So you have Scientology does that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, they've also, in response to the Rob Porter situation, had to tell people, like, don't encourage women to stay in abusive relationships. Like, they've had to come and say, don't encourage
because
that.
That was common practice.
If a woman comes forward, don't say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's 2018. Why was that being said? Why do you need to tell someone who's counseling people not to say that?
Yeah. And with zero experience with counseling or anything, like it's just a guy.
Yeah.
It's just a guy who one day is working at Ace Auto Parts.
Like the Pope.
Yeah. And then God goes, hey, you're the bishop now. You're going to be interviewing kids about masturbation.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like it's total just... There's a relative of mine who just got the 23andMe thing done, which I want to get done. And it's really fucking fascinating because she's sitting there and she's talking about what parts of the world that like her genetics come from, and she's Mormon. So she's sitting there telling me this, and I'm like, okay, so and she's from Latin America. I'm trying to protect these people as I'm talking. I've gotten so much shit coming on the podcast with you guys, like in my family, like everywhere. They're like, stop talking. But she comes on and she starts listing off this stuff, and I'm like, isn't it interesting that none of that is Middle Eastern? Because according to Mormons, like Jews came across the ocean in boats and landed in the Americas, and it's like nowhere in your genetics is
and the
Middle
bad,
Eastern.
evil American Indians slaughtered them all.
Yeah, right. And they were, and the good ones had a white skin,
white and delightsome,
and then the
we could spend
ones with the dark skin
the whole afternoon talking about the wackiness of all that.
It was really funny just to see not only her but other friends of mine and family members in the Mormon Church to get this DNA tests done, and then to sit there and go, wow, it's so fascinating, and they're really excited about these ideas about where they're coming from, and then to sit there and by the same test, it's proven that what they believe is wrong. Yeah. And you bring it up and go, hey, shouldn't you, according to your beliefs, be comprised of this, and this? And they go, yeah, well, that doesn't matter.
There's always some
it doesn't matter,
right?
It doesn't matter. Like the whole 12 tribes of Israel thing with Mormons too, how you're all supposed to be part of a tribe. That being alone with an elderly person, your patriarchal blessing, where you go into some old dude, and he gives you a blessing and tells you your future. Like, it's all just craziness. Like, it's just crazy.
How long? When did you get out?
It's been about 10 years. It's been about 10 years. But
you were in. You went on a mission.
I was in. And what's crazy is the orthodoxy led me to inactivity and ultimately like atheism.
Well, that's what happens. It's pretty common.
But it's because you start to go. Well, why? If I'm going all in, if I'm putting all my chips in, and I'm gonna be dedicated, and I'm a very kind of a loyal, dedicated type personality, then it's. If I train, I train hard. If I party, I party hard. Mm-hmm. It's just, if I have an addiction, it's, I'm done.
Right.
So I wanted to know. So then I started studying biblical Hebrew, started studying Latin, started, reading the Bible in its original text and sitting down with a rabbi and going, well, so explain this to me. And going, well, what the fuck? Like the King James Version is nothing of what this means in the Hebrew.
Even the massive sections of the King James Bible that are in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, like the copy and paste.
Yeah, weird.
The same inaccuracies, the same translating problems, the same vernacular. Like all the issues are just copy. It's crazy. But I wonder, and this is a question that's been coming up. My problem is if. I feel like the inability of religion to evolve, and that's everybody. That's Buddhism, Mormonism, Judaism, like whatever. That when presented with fact, it's just, well, I have my faith, and we move on. Instead of kind of evolving and saying, well, okay, this is a new piece of information. We didn't know this before, so obviously this part of the story needs to be modified. Like we need to kind of, grow and move on, which brings me to starting a new religion with you two. So I'm just kidding.
Well, the deep burning question that I have long wanted to ask, and I'm going to ask it now, is when are we going to have you back on?
Whenever.
What do you have going on other than the three? You always got some iron in the fire.
I do.
And before we wrap, I want to give you a chance to talk about whatever you got going on.
Man, we went all over. We shotgun. We were just like, just running
That's
into
what we do.
shooting.
That is
like
what
that,
we do.
That elevator scene with those the
in Trump Tower
rednecks. Oh yeah, in Smoking Aces, like everybody's just shooting at everybody, and snipers are coming in the window.
That's how we like it.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm shooting that short film in San Francisco in a couple weeks. It's a great cast. It's called The Hall, and we kind of deal with this. Not only religion, but also abuse within a religious family. I've got a television show I'm working on. Oh man, I got these two shows. I wish, and I know my buddy Noah Danby is going to listen to this and be like, yeah, fucker, when are you going to send that over to me? So Noah, I've been super, super freaking busy, and he's filming movies and doing all kinds of stuff. You should check him out. He's a great guy. But we have a television show that we're doing together. And another really close friend of mine, fantastic human being, Gustavo Alvarez. We have a series that we've been developing as well.
Awesome.
And I got a super secret meeting at Scott Free, Ridley Scott's company tomorrow. So
nice.
I'll tell you about that.
All right. Well, listen, for everybody who would like to follow Adam Simon on the Twitter.
And that's everybody.
If you want to be completely led astray by a madman, I'm going to get somebody. I know. I just have this feeling about this one particular podcast. I'm going to get so many people just like, fuck this guy.
It is at Adam Simon Actor on Twitter. It is Adam Bell Gab.
Gabe.
Oh, Gabe. Adam, so it's ADAMBELGABE.
I'm obviously a branding genius.
On the Instagram.
You're supposed to have equals.
All of that will be in the show notes of the podcast, the audio version of the podcast. It will also be in the description of this video on the YouTube.
There you go.
Click right down there. Good times. Thank you for being here, sir. If you have any questions, because there most certainly will be a part 4, if you have any questions for Adam Simon, you can leave a voicemail, 657-464-7609. Of course, you can always email a voice memo from your smartphone to idoubt it at Dollemore.com. I thank you, kind sir.
Thank you
For giving us
guys
of your
are awesome.
time this Sunday. Brittany, thank you. And we'll see you next time. For Brittany Page, Adam, Simon, I am Jesse Dollemore, and this has been I Doubt It.